Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I'm Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Coming to you from Washington's premier indoor shooting facility. Of course, that's Security Gun Club right here in Woodinville, Washington. Hey, we're going to bring it on home again for this video. This is going to be for the hometown crowd. This has to do with a very interesting and ongoing challenge to Washington's magazine ban. Yeah, you might remember that. We've already talked about this case. It's the case of Gator's Guns down in Cowlitz County, and we had predicted that maybe the Attorney General had bitten off a little bit more than he could chew on that. Well, we're going to actually hear from somebody directly involved in that suit, our good friend Pete Serrano from the Silent Majority Foundation, who's going to get us all up to speed. So today, let's spend a few minutes and let's talk about, is the AG about to lose his magazine ban? Okay, so like I said, the case we're talking about is the state of Washington versus Gator Guns versus state of Washington, and it's a lawsuit taking place in Cowlitz County. Apparently the folks at Gator Guns were selling high-capacity magazines, what you and I all call standard-capacity magazines. That resulted in a lawsuit being filed against them by the state of Washington, but that lawsuit then turned into a constitutional challenge in Cowlitz County, and things could get real interesting. Why don't we just hear from the person who's directly in the trenches, Mr. Pete Serrano from the Silent Majority Foundation. Hey everyone, you know this guy, so do I. That's Pete Serrano from the Silent Majority Foundation. Pete, say hi to everyone.
Hey everybody, thanks for the support.
Pete, listen, I'm going to talk to you about a really unique case we were bantering about before we started recording this, about magazine bans, assault weapon bans, some of the trials and tribulations that the Silent Majority Foundation has been through. We talked so much about the importance of having a good venue and a good judge. And we're going to talk about the case of Gator Guns down in Cowlitz County, because I know you're deeply involved in that case, and there's something different about this case than the other ones we've dealt with, isn't there?
There is. So let's walk through a couple of points. First, because the Attorney General sued Gator's Guns, the Attorney General cannot move this to Thurston County. We've talked about, to your point, favorable venues. They always want to go to their backyard. Because they sued the person or the organization involved here, they cannot now transfer it. So that's good. And then secondly, we've had several hearings before Judge Basher, the presiding judge in this jurisdiction, who said, I want to know whether or not this ban is constitutional. Everything else can come in on the back end, but before you guys get to anywhere else, right? It's Christmas morning, you get that one present you get to open, and that's it.
So this judge has made it very clear that that is a preliminary question that he still needs to resolve before we even get into the merits of the claims here.
Absolutely, because, you know, selling the magazines may have a whole Consumer Protection Act element, but before we even peel back to the second layer, is this constitutional? And of course, we know where the state attorney general sits on that, oh, it's great. This is the thing that's going to save everybody's lives, because 10-round magazines are dangerous.
You know, there's been a couple of other actions in this state that started as the Attorney General suing a gun store for selling high-capacity magazines that then subsequently turned into challenges. But the Attorney General's playbook on those cases, one was in King County, one was in Pierce County. The Attorney General's playbook on those cases seems to be radically different than the playbook here. What's the difference, and why do you think it is?
Yeah, the distinction between the other ones where we represented or didn't represent was the Attorney General came in hard, fast, hit the person, and either tried to extract a settlement agreement or punish them immediately, and had a favorable venue there. Mm-hmm. Now here, we have a hearing on Monday, and this is simply a scheduling order. For the audience, you know, typically parties will send back and forth the paper, hey, I'm available this day to have a hearing. Right. I'm available to have a hearing on this day.
This is the boring part of the law, okay? And these hearings are usually uneventful and can often be done by agreed order that nobody has to show up.
Exactly. Either you don't show up, or in this case, because it's Cowlitz County, everyone's going in via Zoom.
Well, but what's happening here?
The judge ordered us into the court in person on Monday and said, listen, you guys can't get the scheduling together because we're pushing to have this thing done and heard by the end of 2023. The Attorney General, initially, the two Assistant Attorneys General on the case were pushing for about that schedule, maybe leaking into January, at worst February. They get a new guy assigned to the case, and now it's May, or potentially December.
And do you think that reassignment was also done because it creates a perceived need for a delay?
Well, it does, because, you bring in new people, they have to get briefed on the case, they need to understand everything else. Now, mind you, these are the same 5 to 6 guys that are working all these cases.
Right, and all these briefs have already, listen, if the judge ordered you to file your brief on Monday, and again, I'm not taking away from all the hard work that you and your organization do, but this issue's been briefed.
It has. And we've briefed it in Brumback. We've seen it briefed in other cases throughout the state. And obviously, you have
Sullivan v. Ferguson over here on this side of the state.
Yep. And you have Judge Benitez's opinion on the same thing in California.
And then let's also remember that a lot of the case law that we're talking about on the assault weapon bans is also similar case law that would be cited in a magazine ban case as well.
Exactly.
So we're not reinventing the wheel here. Neither is the state with their unoriginal arguments that they've been repeating for years and years now, right?
No, and they have the same experts, and that's another distinction, is they want to bring in experts, they want to depose people, and it's like, if I'm an attorney, why do I need a historian to tell me what the Constitution says? To me, that's just, either I'm lazy or I'm ignorant.
I don't understand why a judge needs any historian to teach him what the history of the law is. That's what the judge's job is to do.
Well, and that's been our position all along, but of course the Attorney General wants to inflate costs, they want to drag their feet. And so as many historians as they can bring in, they're going to attempt to do as so-called experts, whereas you and I are sitting here looking at it and saying, the law is the law.
Well, you'd probably stipulate to the record that was done in Duncan v. Bonta, wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
You'd stipulate to that record tomorrow,
absolutely.
Right?
I would have done it yesterday.
Right,
No,
right.
there's again, to your point, there's nothing really original here. Yeah, it's going to take time to piece it together, but if we had to, if he ordered us immediately, I want you to get the first one filed Friday. Sleepless nights in the interim, but we'll get through it and we'll go there.
Well, let me ask you this question, because when we saw the first 2 actions, we'll leave the gun stores' names out of it for purposes of this video, but it's well documented. We did see a really quick resolution to both of those cases, and the Attorney General's office seemed to really just be stepping on the gas pedal. Here, it appears that they are trying to delay. They're hitting the brakes on this. You've been doing this for a long time. You've been bouncing around doing a lot of these issues. The Attorney General bite off a little more than they could chew on this one?
Oh, absolutely. And you and I talked about this. When we saw this filed, it was like, here's a gift from God, or, definitely not God, but from Bob Ferguson, right? It was like
Satan. It's a gift from Satan.
Well, and we look at it and we say, did he really do this? I was almost like, pinch me. Is he serious that he's going to go into a rural, small, conservative county and sue someone who allegedly sold over 1,000 of these magazines?
Yeah. Now, for those of you who don't know the background, I was contacted by Gator Guns. Now, I'm a trial lawyer, and this is way more than I could chew, but I was contacted about them. I knew what was going on, and I immediately directed them to you guys because I knew they'd be in fantastic hands with you. And you and I both had that same reaction, like, is this actually happening? Is he going to try to do this in Cowlitz County? And one of the things that we've talked about on our videos is there's been a tremendous political shift in Cowlitz County over the last 12 years. It went from mildly blue to a very deep red. It's almost 60% Republican. And what you're likely going to do is you're going to see a reflection of that on the bench as well. Again, I don't think we should be publicly commenting on the acumen or lack thereof of judges, but you're comfortable in this venue.
Oh, absolutely. Again, when in talking with Judge Basher, and that's who's our judges, he was very clearly, the question before him, we had several issues. It's Consumer Protection Act, the facial, which means the actual constitutionality of the law, or the as-applied challenge, meaning as applied to Gators. And he said, listen, all I need to know is this constitutional before I can get anywhere else? And again, shouldn't be a huge hurdle or a threshold, but in Washington State, sadly it is. And we cleared that. And now the only question he wants to know about is whether or not it's constitutional. And so to your point, they bite off this question that, I look at the assault weapons ban in Thurston County. She expressly said in her opinion, those are not weapons protected by the Second Amendment or Article 1, Section 24. Like, really? Those specific ones, right?
Right.
And here we have magazines, and he's like, are they constitutionally protected or not?
Okay. So let's change subjects for a minute now. Let's talk about the really important thing, which is Silent Majority Foundation. Tell my viewers a little bit about the Silent Majority Foundation, and more importantly, tell how they can get involved and help your organization out.
Absolutely. Silent Majority Foundation is a nonprofit organization, a 501c3, meaning you've got tax deductible donations that come through us. We've worked fundamentally to protect your rights for the past 2.5 years. It started with COVID, and then it's evolved into Second Amendment and other protective rights for your free speech, for your doctors to practice as you want them to and as they want to, We're suing the state in several instances, and we're just here to stand to make sure that this state of Washington, which is a phenomenal state, it's got great resources, the weather, depending on where you are, is good, and we just want it to be the Washington that it was, protecting the rights endowed by the Creator for you and for me.
Come as you are.
Absolutely.
Right.
Everyone's welcome. Let's do it. And so we're suing on various things.
So if people want to help out Silent Majority Foundation and get involved, how can they do that?
Just go on our website, silentmajorityfoundation.org or smfjb.org, and you can contact us. You can become a member, which gets you access to our content. Through our social media, we try to provide information that's got graphics, like infographics of has gun restriction worked? No, here's the crimes that's increased under Ferguson and Inslee's watch, right?
You saying those aren't working?
Yeah, apparently not. That's why we continue to sue on them, right?
Right.
And so, yeah, there's a lot of ways to get through us. Again, social media, directly on the website, and we're there. And all donations are super helpful. We are a small organization, but I've been blessed to work with great attorneys and a great staff.
Well, Pete, on behalf of all our viewers, can't thank you enough. Thanks for coming onto the channel.
Thank you,
and go knock them dead, would you?
Absolutely. I'll talk to you Monday.
Thanks. Okay, hey, listen, this is really, really promising. We'll do a video again next week after that hearing, kind of figure out what the scheduling looks like and any other tea leaves that we may have been able to read about it. I want to thank my good friend Pete Serrano and everyone at the Silent Majority Foundation for all of their hard work. Remember, if you want to join up or show them some love, we'll put a link down below in the description box so you can do that. Now, in the meantime, if you got any questions about this or anything else related to what's left of our Second Amendment rights, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. If you don't, that's okay. That information is also right down there in the description box. Now, let's everyone remember that part of being a lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation, how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.